uh, respected members of the Sangha, led by Venerable ท่านเจ้าคุณพระเมธีวัชรบัณฑิต Director of IBSC, Professor โสรัตน์หงส์ระดารม President of the Philosophy and Religion Society of Thailand, Member of the Society, Professors, colleagues of IBSC, and my students. I would like to express my appreciation to the Philosophy and Society of Thailand to choose the venue of the annual meeting of the society this year as IBSC, in collaboration with the IBSC, which recruit international students to study here in the field of philosophy and religion, will help broaden the prospect of philosophy and religious study in Thailand, to interest them and make them acquainted with what we have been doing in other universities in the fields of philosophy and religion. The topic that I'm assigned to talk to you this morning is about local wisdom and global morality. I will give you the prospect of the development from local wisdom to be a foundation of global morality take the case of Buddhism or Buddhist philosophy. How Buddhism, which started as a local wisdom in India 25 centuries ago, become a world religion and a foundation of global morality. That is the case of other religions like Christianity, which began 20 centuries ago in Jerusalem and spread throughout the world, become the base of global morality. And take the case of philosophy. Greek philosophy began as a local wisdom in Greece 20 centuries ago. No, at that time, people in India or other continent didn't know about Socrates and Plato. But now, Platonic or Platoism is incorporated in Christianity by Saint Augustine and become in harmony with Christian theology and spread throughout the world. And Greek philosophy at the age of Renaissance has been revived and studied again. The whole world returned to Greek culture, Greek philosophy, which is the foundation of Western thought. All the major branches of philosophy begin as local wisdom. We should learn from them how they succeed in spreading throughout the world, become the influential thought in the whole world. To understand that total picture, I would draw your attention to Buddhism as an example. And you can compare with Christianity, with Greek philosophy, and other Western culture. The same thing happens nowadays when Thailand is bombarded by Western culture. Hollywood, how it started? Bollywood, how it started? A very small company and succeeded in converting Thai youth into the Western culture with or without morality. That is a matter of concern. We just look back and try to understand the phenomena. Look back to the past happening in order to understand the present situation and predict what is coming in the future. But I don't think that I can accomplish this task in just 1 hour. So that is left with other speakers and scholars to discuss and elaborate today. So I just give you introduction. That's all. First, I would like to draw your attention to the definition of local wisdom, so that we can follow the line of thinking in the same way. By local wisdom, we understand as the accumulated knowledge, skills, practice, and beliefs or worldview that are developed and passed down within a specific community or culture. This definition suits the state of Buddhism at the beginning, at its arising period in India, or Christianity in Palestine, in Jerusalem, and other Greek philosophy, because it is a local wisdom, a belief system or worldview. In Thailand, when we use the term local wisdom, we incorporate the accumulation of knowledge, skills, practice happening in other fields like architecture, food, herbal medicine, etc. So that is accumulated knowledge of Thai people in the ancient time, passed down to the present day. It becomes the intellectual property of this land. When I talk of from local wisdom develop into global morality, I mean the belief system, worldview. Worldview or belief system in Thai culture based on Buddhist philosophy or Buddhism. We may have superstitious belief and other things. I will come to that point later on. First, look at Buddhism at the starting period in India as a local wisdom, a very small group of people led by Prince Siddhartha to preach a reform teachings different from the predominant religion at that time, that is Brahmanism, or now it's Hinduism. So my point here is that philosophy and religion do not exist in a vacuum. Please keep in mind. whether either religion or philosophy, neither of them can spring up in vacuum. It means no, without influence from the historical event or cultural context at the time. There is a context. We live right now in the historical context in 20th century. The events in Thailand here and now are different from 200 years ago. The way of thinking of Thai people today are different from what the people 200 years ago or 300 years ago at the time of Or Chao. Different. Oh. So, it springs from the historical and cultural context. That is the context of human knowledge available at that time, culture and society. Take into account this cultural and historical context. We can imagine that when Buddhism first arose or taught by Prince Siddhartha, the context or surrounding event at the moment was a predominant religion, Brahmanism, and competitive culture like the Sikh teachers, Jainism, and others, Samana. So, Buddhism in this case developed through the interaction with Hinduism. First and foremost, it had to refute some cultural aspects or beliefs in the old religion, like the caste system in Hinduism. In order to grow the rice in the paddy field, you have to cut off or destroy weeds. According to Buddhism, caste system is an obstacle of the Sangha society, which give value to equality. How can you incorporate the caste system, Kshatriya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, and Sutra into Sangha? Recruit them, members of the four castes, and allow them to maintain the old caste system in the Sangha. That would destroy this Sangha. So either you choose this Sangha, the order, or the old system of caste system. So there is a rejection, refutation before building a new thing. Another example is the concept of Atman. Atman is the permanent entity inside man related to the all-powerful Atman, that is Brahman, Paramatman and Chivatman, individual soul and universal soul, to use this term. For Buddhism, without God, without supernatural being of Brahman, we have to cut off or reject the existence of that Paramatman or Brahman, and assert that there is no Atman inside man, 5 aggregates, no self, anatta. Another point is the critique of ritual and sacrifice, like animal sacrifice or human sacrifice. I quote from the Tripitaka rejection of the caste system. No na chacca vasalo hoti. Na chacca hoti brahmano. Kamuna vasalo hoti, kamuna hoti brahmano. Not by birth is one and outcast. Vasalo. Not by birth is one a Brahman. By deed or karma, one becomes an outcast. By deed, one becomes a Brahman, a holy person, an Arahant, a perfected person. It's possibility for a human being to develop himself to the utmost state of the perfected person, that is Arahant, not determined, predetermined by caste system. It is not for me to verify this position. I just talk in past to show that from local wisdom to global morality, that's all. So, at the time of the Buddha, one may doubt whether the Buddha engaged in philosophical discussion or not. Because sometimes when we talk of Buddhism, it's confused with this philosophy. The Four Noble Truths appear in both Buddhism as religion, and Buddhist philosophy. How we see the difference between Buddhism as religion and Buddhist philosophy. I think the development of Buddhism can tell us. First of all, the Buddha himself, as the founder of religion, gained high respect from the followers. The Buddhists, the new Buddhists, or new ordained monk hardly ask the question, especially metaphysical questions. Take the case of Malungaya Putta, that is the exception. Generally, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika, the four assemblies, pay respect to him. Follow his instruction to practice Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Precepts, meditate, observe the precepts, meditate, and cultivate wisdom by means of Sikha or Buddhist education. Not much criticism or questions. It's based on faith, saddha. For the Buddhists, we have to believe or have faith in Tathagata Bodhisattva. Faith in the enlightenment of the Buddha. Kamma saddha, believe in the law of karma, etc. Without belief system, it's difficult to practice, even meditation. At least you have to pay respect to the triple gem, to your teachers, master, who teach you meditation. If you keep asking philosophical question, is it possible to meditate? no thought at that moment, just observing mental phenomena, sati, mindfulness. Let reality reveal itself by not thinking. How contradictory it is in terms of logic. It's beyond logic. Majjhima Patipada. Maybe 3 values logic in the middle part. Faith is necessary. Starting point. In the Noble Eightfold Path, it begins with Samma Diddhi. Samma Diddhi at the beginning is not a wisdom. It is just a right belief in the way that we are going to follow up to Samma Samadhi. We choose this way of life to practice. It begins with Samadhi. If you want to draw anyone to this way of life, give them conviction that this is the right way. It is not a full wisdom. It is just the dawn of wisdom, like Yoniso Manasikara. Wise reflection, wise attention, Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara is the dawn of wisdom, Samadhi, and that is related to faith or saddha, and you practice. Okay, that in the Buddhist circle, we are saying that in the inner circle of the 4 assembly, you won't find much at the time of the Buddha philosophical discussion. Take the case of Malukayaputta. I won't narrate this story. It's quite well known. But Brahmanistic community was not convinced of the Buddha teaching. They reject, they debate. There is a refutation of the teaching of the 2 camps. So Brahmachara Sutta, the sutta on the net of philosophical thinkings, 60 of them, narrated by the Buddha, is about philosophical views at the time. When the Buddha has to have dialogues with religious leaders at the time, philosophical discussion is there. The sutra, Abhidhamma, record the philosophical discussion. So if you want to practice meditation, to follow the 3-4 education, 3-4 training, starting with Tathagata, Bodhisattva, Sammaditthi, not much discussion is there, philosophical is not there. But some sutra, when the Buddha have to encounter with the challenges, the debate from Nikanta, from Brahman, you will see the philosophical discussion. Even his followers sometimes had to defend Buddhist position. So at that time, the conversation dialogue between Buddhism and other religion give rise to Buddhist philosophy. And the sutta and asutta in the Suttanta Pitaka record the sutra related to this philosophy. Whereas 200 years after the Buddha passed away, the direct confrontation appeared in Abhidhamma, Kathavattu. One of the treatise of Abhidhamma, Kathavattu, translated as book point of controversies. the debate, refutation, philosophical position, everything is there. That's why we take Abhidhamma in Pali as the treatise on philosophy and psychology. Plenty of philosophical discussions are there. Psychological analysis is there. That's why in MCU we are able to set up the department, the major subject on Buddhist psychology for PhD students. Because we have treatises on Buddhist psychology, that's in Abhidhamma. And Buddhist philosophy are there in Abhidhamma. 12 volumes in Abhidhamma. But in Sutra is a record of the event how this philosophy come into the scene because of the interaction between Buddhism and other religions. Another point is, after the Buddha passed away, some fraction or members of the Sangha interpret the Buddha words in different ways. From the mainstream led by Mahakassapa, Theravada. So Theravada came, find it necessary to write the proper definition of the Buddha words. What is the meaning of this stanza, this verse taught by the Buddha? Atta hi attano nato. Our self is a refuge. The self is a refuge of ourselves. Self here is not atta, not atman. Commentary has to pinpoint, underline that. Pukkhala in Abhidhamma. Pukkhala is not a Chivataman. Is not a permanent soul. It is just a congregation of a combination of 5 aggregators. But some Nikaya at that time, some sect in Buddhism, interpret Pukkhala as Chivataman, a permanent self within the 5 aggregators. So it was refuted in Kathavatu, the book of controversy. Over there. So commentaries is nothing but Buddhist theology. Buddhist theology. What is Buddhist theology? Christian theology. It is in Christianity, Jesus Christ taught the New Testament. Collection of his teaching is the New Testament. To interpret Jesus Christ's teaching, to educate the people at that time, the Christian preacher has to incorporate or adopt philosophical teaching from Greek philosophy, for example, to support their arguments. For example, Saint Augustine used the concept of form, the word of form or idea, to compare with the realm of God. Saint Thomas Aquinas utilized philosophy of Aristotle in Greek philosophy. Make Christianity become very, very rational. God is no longer a personal one, but become the supreme reality, like the world of form in Plato. See how convincing. I would look at Aquinas and Saint Augustine as commentator who wrote commentary in Buddhist tradition. So Buddha Kosajan is a great commentator, a writer of commentary. He is a great philosopher, originator of Buddhist philosophy in Theravada. In order to present the different interpretation of points of view from Theravada, we have Sabbatika, Saravasati Vakna come into the scene. They wrote their commentaries in Sanskrit. Become a new Nikaya in Buddhism, Saravasati Vada, in northern India. Nakarajuna came into the scene. Great Buddhist philosopher of Madhyamika, Sunyata. He rejected Saravasati Vada and present emptiness or Shunyata point of view. Madhyamika, the middle part. Being what is one extreme. Non-being is one extreme. So in the middle is Madhyamika. He quote from Tipitaka. Sabbang Ati, the Buddha say, is one extreme. Sabbang Nati, nothing exists, is another extreme. The Buddha preached by the middle way. Imasaming sati idang hoti. If this exists, that exists. That is paticca samubpada. See? Nikaya in Buddhism arise because of different interpretation, and that is the foundation of Buddhist philosophy. Without studying commentaries, studying Nikaya, like Saravasati Vada, Madhyamika, of Nakarajuna, Yogacarya, Zen Buddhism developed from Madhyamika and Yogacara. You hardly understand Buddhist philosophy. If you just stop at Four Noble Truths, that's all. You will see the line of development of thought. And another, because they have to, that is Theravada Mahayana, is no doubt, is the full development of Buddhist philosophy. How they interact and different from each other. Nakarajuna and Yogacarya, Madhyamika, developed the way of thinking, how to debate that is formed to become a Buddhist logic. Later on, Cherbatsky wrote a book on Buddhist logic, a beautiful one. It is about Brahmana in Indian philosophy, epistemology, Brahmana. Many things to study, many things to do. Left for IBSC to do research. Come to another point. Now you will see that from Buddhism as a religion, a local wisdom in the northern part of India, it interact with another major religions at the time, develop their own thought, philosophy, exported out of India to Sri Lanka in the south of Asia, that become Theravada in the north of Asia, north of India. China, Tibet, Korea become Mahayana. They have their own Buddhist philosophies. So develop they are the full-fledged philosophical thinkings. Because of these are the differences that we find. The World Buddhist Sangha Council convened in 1967. Try to find the essential teaching of the Buddha, acceptable to both Theravada, Mahayana, and Mahayana. What would be the basic points unifying the Theravada and Mahayana? They assigned to scholars at that time, compile the 8 points of unity or essential teachings of the Buddha among the different philosophical interpretation, commentary, etc. They find that 8 points. Number 1 is the belief, Saddha, in the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. The other, like Four Noble Truths, 3 characteristics of things: Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, impermanent, Dukkha, and not self. Noble Eightfold Path. That is beside the point. The number 8 is here. We, the Buddhists, admit that in different countries there are differences with regard to the ways of life of Buddhist monks, popular Buddhist beliefs and practice, rituals and ceremony, custom and habits. These external forms and expressions should not be confused with the essential teachings of the Buddha. Essential teachings are there, like the core of a tree, but you have a branch, leaves there, which are external components of Buddhism. These external components different in accordance with the location where the Buddhism are taught. Buddhism is taught. Thai Buddhism means essential teaching of Buddha is mixed with the local beliefs, local interpretation. For example, in order to preserve environment, to protect the big tree, we have ordination ceremony for the tree, which is unique in Thailand. How the tree is ordained? Wow! Only in Thailand. And pay respect to the tree like you pay respect to the monks, not to cut the tree. And it gives rise to way of life, to live peacefully with nature, respect for nature, local wisdom, available in Thailand only. You can think of other aspects of the Buddha teaching related to Thai clothes. For example, Mahavesantara Chataka story, Dana, charity. So Thailand is the land of smile, Thailand is the land of generosity. Welcome all the tourists with friendship. This spirit of friendship, giving, is emphasized in Mahachat sermon. See, you won't find this in India. It depends on how that country emphasize. In Mahayana country in India, you won't find the 10 virtues of the king ทศพิธราชธรรมทศพิธราชธรรม 10 virtues of the king is not a main teaching in Tripitaka. The main teaching in Tripitaka related to the governance is Jakkavadivat, the practice of the emperor. Whereas 10 virtues of the king is a verse, a katha, appear in Chataka story, a minor part, Khuttaka Nikaya, in the Tripitaka, in Suttanta. But it is very influential and powerful in Thailand and other Theravada countries. You can see this is a local wisdom. And from the 10 virtues of the king develop into the grand scale of leadership philosophy. How can we contribute to management study and governance, good governance by means of 10 virtues of kingship? This is very unique, very specific in Thailand, which is not no more taught in Cambodia, Laos, or Myanmar, even in Sri Lanka, only in Thailand, because here monarchy is very strong. We don't want this local wisdom to be lost. How we can share our experience. King Chulalongkorn said that in the absolute monarchy at his time, King he taught his son, King cannot do anything as he like. He cannot kill anyone. He cannot scold anyone, hurt anyone without justice. We have to live as a poor person, to serve people. In other words, to follow the instruction in 10 virtues of the kingship, which appear in Manu Satra, which is a constitution of Thailand during the absolute monarchy. The 10 virtues of kingship, Thosapit Rajatham, was incorporated into the thesis called Dhammasat, the law which governed the behavior of the king at the time. See, this is a local wisdom. We can share them. We can elaborate and taught people nowadays, even in Thailand, how to live with good management and good governance. So, this is the Buddhist perspective. I come to another point. Global. Just one word. Local wisdom. Now I move to the second one. Global morality. What is global morality? Another part of my presentation. By global morality is global ethics. Is referred to the framework of ethical principles and values that are meant to apply universally across on individual society, culture around the world. The global morality, moral ethic, moral principle should be number one, universal. It had to transcend limit or boundary of religions, of society, of culture. It means universally applicable to everyone. What are the rules of conduct in Buddhism that seem to be universal and applicable to every person in the world? 5 precepts come to my mind. To abstain from killing, not to kill, not to steal, not to commit sexual misconduct, not to tell lies, not to take intoxicants causing heedlessness. How is become universal? Just assert that it is universal is not philosophical presentation. See? To convince others that the 5 precepts are universal morality, you go into the boundary of philosophy. For the Buddhists, it's universal. Non-Buddhists, others, how to convince them? See? So, to convince philosophers in the field of philosophy, I have to look into Kantian ethics to compare. See? I have to talk about Buddhist morality in the language of philosopher. Kant beautifully give the framework of universal logic because he lived just 200 years ago. So he gained a lot of experience and knowledge from Greek philosophy, Western philosophy, even religion. So Kantian ethics is a deontological ethical theory, emphasize on duty, moral principle, and the inherent worth of each individual. What does it mean? The important thing is moral principle, which is similar to 5 precepts, moral rules of conduct. We have, according to Immanuel Kant, we have to follow 5 precepts because it's a universal principle of conduct, of morality. And it is not that you are willing to perform, you perform because it is your duty. Duty for duty's sake. And why you take it as a duty? Because you are a moral agent who as a rational being, that is, each individual has his own reason, which is different from Buddhism. Okay, what is similar is moral principle. Is it duty or not? Depends on individual for Buddhist perspective. But I can take the point related to universality for you. For Immanuel Kant, a moral principle like 5 precepts, it should be binding on rational beings, that is human being, regardless of their desire or personal circumstance. It is unconditional command of reason. Reason commands you to follow the 5 precepts. In Buddhism, reason here is wisdom. Only a person full of wisdom, panya, can find it easier to follow the 5 precepts. Otherwise, there is a distraction from kilesa, defilements. So the difference from between Buddhist position and Kantian ethics is about the autonomy of the agent, moral agent, the person. But how can we solve this difference is another matter. The matter is about universal law of conduct to become a global morality. That is very interesting. When you compare, you have to see the similarity and the difference. Similarity is universality of the precepts. Different is autonomy of the agent or the unconditioned command of reason. For Kant, it is not necessary to develop rationality in your mind because it's already there. Like in Plato form, idea, knowledge, liberation is there. I think it's influenced by other Greek philosophers. Education is nothing for Plato, it's a revelation of what you already have in your mind, which is similar to Mahayana, Bodhicitta, the enlightenment, the Buddha mind. See, you will see the similarity in everywhere. So, from Plato to Kant, we are born with knowledge, with wisdom, but it is hidden. That is taught by Socrates and Plato. But Kant said that it is a priori. It is categories in your mind. Like mathematics, it's already there. So Kant looked at ethics as like something, a framework of mind, like mathematics. Everyone has reason to follow. 2 plus 2 equal 4. Not to steal something. We have to do it. Not to kill. So he formed 3 formulae. The first formula for universal law is this. Act only in according to that maxim by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Whatever rules of conduct that you follow, you must look at that rules of conduct like not to kill as a universal law, applicable to every human being. How? First, it should be a contradiction. If we say that we should kill everyone, this law cannot be sustainable, because if every member of human beings kill each other, there will be no human being to observe the law. If we say that we should steal, so everybody is free to steal from the university, corruption, no university left. This law is not applicable. It's self-destructive. If everyone is free to tell lie, how can communication possible when you think that he or she lies to me all the time? So this precept is meaningless. Not to kill, it itself a universal in the sense that it's applicable to everyone, and at the same time, it preserves itself as a law. This is number one. If you say that to kill the outcast people is good, the other will do the same thing to you. So the golden rule that all religions follow is do unto the other what you want them to do to you. Applicable to everyone. Golden rule. 5 precepts. But some would say, okay, first 4 precepts not to kill, not to steal, not to have sexual misconduct, not to tell lies, are universal. What about intoxicants taking or drug abuse? I do not harm others. This is a challenge from your followers, the Buddhists, who want to drink every day. Miccha-tithhi people. And they have their own logic. It's not follow from the first formula. Come to the second one, and you will see. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end and never merely as a means to an end. That means you have to respect the right of other people and the right of yourself. The right of yourself to live, that is your own person, to live happily, long life. Don't take drug or even intoxicant to harm your own self. It's against you use your body as the means to an end, at least temporary happiness, as you think. And if you spend a lot of money for drugs, you take the money of your son, your daughter education, your family for your own temporary enjoyment. You take your family member as means to your happiness, pleasure, I can say. So in ethics, you have to take everyone equal to you. Look at them and treat them at the end. Pay respect to their rights. Right to happiness, right to education, right to development. Not to take for granted the other people. Ethics. If you steal from someone, it means one has to work hard to collect money, and you take money out of them. They are means for your pleasure. You tell lies. Tell lies so that you can steal because you are from the call center. Phone call every day and steal the money from their bank. You take others as means. You pretend to be their lovers. Give me money. See? As means. No respect. And the five precepts want us to respect others as end. Not only people, even animals. When you use buffalo in plowing the field, after finishing your job, you kill the buffalo? No. Otherwise, it is just the means to your end. Respect the rights of the buffalo. Not to kill. See? To protect nature. Come to nature. Stealing from your young generation to come. Future generation. You cut the trees, sell on the treasure in your land, pollute water, polluted water. Never care about the future generation, your son, grandsons. You're stealing them the right to live happily with nature. You treat other people as a means. See? And number 3, act only so that your view can be regarded at the same time as making universal law through its maxims. Quite difficult. I just explained in a simple language that it means for Kant, man is a rational being. So he acts with reason. And his view is a free will, which guided by reason. And he thinks that other people will do the same thing. So his 5 precepts will be applicable to every rational being. It means I am good, the other will be good also. So when the innocent children have trust in a stranger because this kind of comparison. I would like to show you the quotation of Tipitaka. No. Okay, later on. This one, when you think that you are good and you have trust in the people to be good, that is this formula, because everyone is rational being. But the thing is that in Buddhism there is a saying, everybody is afraid of death. Life is dear to a person. Attanang upamang kattawa. Compare oneself with other like this. One should not kill or cause to kill. One should not harm or cause to harm. Attanang upamang kattawa. Compare yourself with others. This is the law. If we love our life, the other should love their lives. Take them as end in themselves, not to steal them, not to kill them, to follow 5 precepts. So and your life is loved by yourself, not to take drugs or intoxicants. The same thing. So that you won't be a drunk driver to kill other people on street, on the road. See? To care other people, you observe the 5 precepts. That is one aspect of moral issue. But the difference between Kantian ethics and Buddhism is that in Buddhism, man is not always rational because his rational, that is wisdom, is clouded by kilesa, greed, hatred, and ignorance, delusion. So it's up to us to have mental development by means of meditation, by practice meditation, mindfulness to purify the mind. That's why the Buddhist teaching related to Buddhist training, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, come into the scene. I don't have time to explain that later. But let's come to the last point of global morality. Global morality not only become universal in nature, but also it addresses issues that transcend national, cultural, religious boundary, focusing on the shared responsibility and rights of humanity as a whole. You see, we come from different culture, local wisdom, different religion, faith, but the world is facing with global warming. We have to forget our difference and contribute the wisdom from our locality to solve the world problems. Right now there is a conflict in the world. It is not up to one country or one local wisdom to face these difficulties. We have to join hands to work together by force, by moral force, from all section, all sector, become not a hard power but soft power. To say no to war in Ukraine, in Gaza Strip, and anywhere in the world. Not enough for any local wisdom to voice their concern. Every voice should come out and speak out. Moral authority. So morality of the local religion, local wisdom become universal and global because it challenge the world problems. Global warming, climate change, you see now, is a world problems. So in that case, I take the case of SDG. To move the world towards the development without problems, we have to adopt local to environment, health, solve the world problem relating to climate change. How Buddhist wisdom in our local success applicable to social conflict or the application of sustainable self-sufficiency economy proposed by King Rama the Ninth, former kings, which was rooted in Buddhist wisdom, applicable to solve economic crisis in the world. In Bhutan, they are doing the same thing. Gross domestic happiness, GNH, based on Buddhist wisdom. It's a local because it's in Bhutan. How GNH, gross national happiness there, help solve the economic crisis anywhere, elsewhere in the world. How sufficiency economy proposed by King Bhumibol, again, adopted and applicable to solve economic crisis anywhere. We have to make it known. And at the bottom you have peace. People, right? Take people not as means but end in themselves. Respect them. Follow 5 precepts. Plus economic prosperity from Buddhist economics, like sufficiency economy, and preserve environment, planet, taking care of benefit and happiness of future generation, not take natural resources as means but end in themselves, to preserve it with compassion, wisdom and compassion. And we form partnership with all wisdom in Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, and philosophical circles. Hand in hand, we go together. And at the bottom, peace must be there. Without peace, we cannot preserve the right of the people. We cannot have economic prosperity. We cannot preserve environmental planet. So everything has to be taken care by partnership. Peace is the foundation. Natti, I talk with this. Natti santi parang sukhang. peace is the greatest happiness foundation of moral a global morality this is peace thank you very much